Alrighty guys, welcome back to Star Wars Review. Today I'm going to be reviewing the story mode of Star Wars Battlefront II 2017, which was published by EA and developed by DICE Motive Studios and Criterion Games. It came out on November 17th, 2017. So yeah, like I said, I'm just going to be talking about the story mode, not the multiplayer or anything like that. I probably won't ever do a review on just the multiplayer, mainly because the game's already 3 years old, and obviously they did a lot of updates. Well, they are technically not done doing updates, but yeah. But in story mode, mainly made by Motive. Obviously, gameplay and whatnot for uh, like. The blaster stuff was DICE, and the ship combat was Criterion, and obviously story was made by Motive. Maps, I would assume, the ones from multiplayer were definitely all DICE. I'm not sure if the maps were only in the story mode or made by Motive or not. I'm not sure, but anyways, I'll just jump in. The story mode, I thought it was just meh. I really never did anything for me, and whatnot, which, yeah, the characters, I liked some of them, but, the main character, when you play as Iden Versio, I just never really got into her as a character, and, one of the big criticisms of the story, that, obviously, the marketing and whatnot, it seemed like it was going to be like mainly an Imperial story, but very quickly into the game, Iden defects to the rebellion, very quickly, and for me, I definitely agree. Mainly it's because this didn't feel natural enough, or she defects alongside another character, Del Miko, which I felt like his defection, felt a little more natural, mainly with the mission with him and Luke. And you can kind of start to see it, but with Iden, it just, it was more random. The reasoning is fine. No reason, but never any real good build up to it. So, yeah. But once you defect to rebellion, it did introduce a character I do like, and Shriv, who's a Deros, who, like I said, is part of the rebellion. Obviously, I mainly liked him for his comedic presence in the game, and some nice comedic moments. Obviously not like the slight little things, very Star Wars-esque comedy, you could say. Not the stuff that's like in your face kind of comedy, but yeah, and like I mentioned earlier, Del Miko, I thought he was okay. He was my favorite character in the world, but fine. Obviously there's other Inferno Squad members, Gideon Hask, who I guess is kind of the main villain. I didn't really care for him. It's kind of a generic Imperial villain, along with Garrick Versio. Just whatever. Those two after Iron Defects are barely in the game. Hask at least does return more in the resurrection missions, which I'll talk about that more in a moment. But yeah, and obviously there's several other characters too, and like Luke Han, Leia Lando, and several other characters, which I'll talk about the movie characters in a moment. But yeah, there's no other character really stood out. But yeah, the story, like I mentioned, obviously the defection part I wasn't super into, but also just in general, I never felt like there was really good main focus in the story for the characters. Kind of all over the place, and because it does start out as an imperial story, and there isn't a really good build up to the defection. And then after the defection, just really didn't fully understand the whole point of it for certain characters. For the galaxy as a whole, some of them make sense, but just for the characters of the game, it just never really fully made sense. But like I said, start the Imperial stuff and with Operation Cinder, I enjoy. I've like the other stories will have Operation Cinder stuff in it too. So yeah, but Operation Cinder is the reason I the facts because Cinder attacks her homeworld of Vardos, which her being upset about that makes sense. But right before it, she was there's other Cinder stuff, and she didn't seem to really care. So yeah, but and then just that, and it's like instantly and whatnot. But yeah, obviously one criticism right now with Star Wars is a lot of Imperial defection stories, which I'm still fine with those types of stories. I mainly prefer them when they're done right. This one, I honestly wasn't, but yeah, and also I'll say sometimes with Imperial or bad guy stories, I'm just not, I'm more of a fan of the rebels and good guys. And those are just the stories I enjoy more. Obviously, I do enjoy Imperial bad guy stories, but yeah, and this game doesn't do a bad guy or good guy story right at all. So yeah, I mainly with the story, I just found it that it seemed like first main focus was Operation Cinder, but then it just kind of goes away, and it's this mainly I guess about Battle of Jakku, but I don't know. There's just never any real good stakes in it for the main characters. I guess also could have helped if the game was longer, and also didn't have the several missions where you play as the characters from the movies, like Han, Luke, Leia, Lando, and whatnot. I did enjoy the Luke mission. It was probably my favorite mission of the game. And the Lando one was good too. And the Leia ones were okay, but I feel like if you get rid of those missions, give another mission to the main characters of the game and Inversio and whatnot, and you can really develop those characters more. Obviously, the missions where you play as those characters, and there's also one with Kylo Ren. They were definitely the shortest missions in the game, but still, I just feel like they, could have done something else with that. Even though I really like the Luke mission. So yeah, the story just wasn't for me. But yeah, I guess also the levels and whatnot. Okay, there's nothing really crazy with the levels. Most of them are just maps pulled from multiplayer, or pretty much just are the maps, or just slightly redesigned. maps, and they're all basically planets we've seen before. Or a few new ones like Vardos, which like I mentioned earlier, Anversio's home world, which is like a imperial loyalist planet, which definitely a neat planet. Pilio, which I thought looked very neat. But on the actual level design, it's nothing crazy, but that's not really a bad thing. It doesn't really need to be, so yeah. And the gameplay is good. It's a dice shooter. The shooting mechanics for dice games, Battlefield, are usually good, but I will say I'm not the biggest fan of dice shooters. I could just never really get into Battlefield. I've played several Battlefield games and could never really get into them. It's probably mainly because I suck at them, but yeah. But the Starfighter gameplay, I do enjoy that. I believe that's from Criterion. Developed that gameplay, but this is obviously about the story, so it doesn't really matter. Well, I'm mainly talking about the story in this, so yeah. But yeah, it's gameplay's good. Nothing to complain about there. But the biggest thing for me in a Star Wars video game is the story. Obviously, it still needs good gameplay. If the gameplay is atrocious, then it's not fun to play. But yeah, is what it is. But like I mentioned earlier, there was a Resurrection add-on thingy, which released 3 weeks after the game, which is mainly a story set, right before The Force Awakens, with this Project Resurrection from the First Order, which I don't really remember what it was fully about, but, yeah, that, I believe it's only 3 missions. I thought was alright. I definitely thought it was had a better focus than the main game story wise, and I did kind of like the new character, Aiden Versio and Delmico's daughter, Zay Versio, I believe is her name. I thought her character was okay. And yeah, on the levels, there's nothing really new. It just was Vardos again, and the Star Destroyer, so crazy new levels or anything, but I thought the Resurrection add-on was alright, but still not great. But yeah, my grade for the story mode of Star Wars Battlefront 2 is going to be a C-. Just never really could get into it. And I found the story a bit lackluster, and characters were whatever, but yeah, and the game is too short. I felt like it could have been better if it was longer, gave more time for the characters to develop and whatnot. And honestly, if the game was just purely an Imperial story set after the Battle of Endor, I probably would have liked it a lot more. But it's not, so yeah, it kind of just fell into more generic Star Wars Rebellion story after that. But yeah, the Resurrection add-on, if I were to rate that, I'd probably give it a C+ or B-. I don't know. It was okay, but didn't really do anything super crazy, mainly because there's only 3 missions and under an hour, maybe an hour long. So yeah, but Now that's gonna be it for this review. I'll probably, Squadrons. It's probably, I don't know when this video will be going up. It's coming out on October 2nd. So yeah, I might not have any videos up on the 2nd, but hopefully we'll have ones on the 3rd, 4th, and whatnot afterwards of either, gameplay from the story mode, videos like this, or multiplayer stuff. I'll probably be doing all of it, so check all of that out then. But for now, I've been Star Wars Review, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.
Admiral Versio, the rebellion cannot be allowed to persist.